Hello, welcome to SCLC Today. What a sad program we have today. Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I've been a little bit under the weather, but I'm here. God has sustained me, and we're back with our program. But what a sad commentary in terms of Memphis, Tennessee. Now, you know, because of this program and other concerns, I'm very familiar with Memphis, Tennessee. You remember the name Purvis Payne? They were going to execute him for not having substantiated evidence in what we researched and had our attorneys to look at. But guess what, ladies and gentlemen? His life was spared. And regardless of what anyone say, we got involved as an organization and we spared his life by working with the DA at that particular time. You know, many times people want to grandstand, want to take credit. We're not here about that. We're talking facts. You never heard us grandstand in regards to Mr. Purvis Payne, who was going to be executed, but his life was stayed. It survived the execution because of what SCLC got involved in. We didn't run around the country trying to get on TV. We didn't run around and just constantly talked about in front of the camera what we're going to do. We did it. And the young man would be out of imprisonment within a short period of time. But the fact being, he would not die. And the authoritative figures at that particular time in the DA office and others around the judicial setting agreed to spare his life. What are you talking about, Steele? I'm talking about we're familiar with not only Memphis, but throughout this country and the world, because we go to those places and we're not looking for no headline, but we're on our way to Memphis again. We told the people in Memphis, from the city officials, the judicial system, I'm very familiar with Memphis, Tennessee. Good people there. I have a lot of friends there. Memphis is like one of my other homes. When I go there, people treat me very kindly. But they have problems. It's a culture problem. You know, Dr. King was killed there. April the 4th, 1968, around 6 o'clock in the afternoon, early evening. Dr. King. The culture of violence from the police department doesn't mean that all police officers are bad. But how are you going to have a team called a Scorpion Task Force? Scorpion? Sound like a game to me. So my point is, this was the most horrific, disturbing piece of violence that I have experienced since Rodney King. Very similar to Rodney King. And by the way, his daughter spoke out earlier today. But we'll be leaving after this program, going to Memphis, Tennessee. The people have already called us. We don't just go just to go. We're going to be there 3 or 4 days. We have a base there. We have a chapter there. We know the problems. We know the people. We've been telling them. Now, furthermore, what made me feel good this morning? Several of my friends from throughout the country called and said, Steele, you've been telling folks about this. You know, racism is systemic. It's a virus. It has nothing to do with the Caucasian race or white people or black people, whatever. It is a systemic virus like COVID-19. These were black police officers and taking advantage of someone who was less than they were in terms of power and influence. So it's a culture within the system that is racist. It doesn't matter you black, white, green, or blue. If they have that intoxication of the power that I'm going to look down on you. Dr. King dealt with it. We all deal with it. Ladies and gentlemen, I know because I deal with it. Racism must be eradicated. We have trained police officers in various cities. We have tried to get into Memphis, but we were not successful. But we're not going to stop. We're going to get involved. We're going to stay involved. And we're not looking for no headline or being on no particular network or TV. We do the work. Now, if anybody want to come along and film us doing the work, fine. But we save lives and we change lives. Let me read this press release, not in its entirety, but partially. Press release for interview opportunities. You can contact our office. My chief of staff, Mr. DeMark Liggins, Ms. Keisha Ray, part of the PR team, or Mr. Jerry Thomas, or Mr. Maynard Eaton. Maynard Eaton is also out of state doing a great job. But I have 3 or 4 people who are very good. And thank you, Mr. Eaton, for all you do. And we don't see him that much because he's at Hampton University. Very, very great for the opportunity that's being provided. And also, Mr. Rick Clear, who's our producer and bring about the aspect of the public relations that we do. We just want to thank Mr. Clear. Rick is one of the best in the business. SCLC been blessed with good people. Ladies and gentlemen, as President and CEO of SCLC, Memphis police killing shows how deeply embedded racism is in the police culture. And it's not just Memphis, but I know it's embedded in Memphis because I do a lot of work there. And Walmack, my president of the Memphis chapter, who's always been involved and receptive to the kingdom philosophy of what we do. I'm sickened and saddened by the death of Tyre Nichols. I'm even sicker over the fact that the officers involved were all African Americans. The goal of inclusion, excuse me, and desegregation was to foster the evaluation of black lives. I'm at loss for words to describe the sense of betrayal that I feel. Betrayal that I feel. All through the 70s and 80s, we pushed for the hiring of black police officers and firefighters to ensure public safety was meted out of fairly representation. The fairness of protecting and serving the community. It's amazing that 5 black men can learn to hate and disregard the lives of their fellow black man. Forget their oath. Forget their professionalism. Where was their humanity? Can systemic racism really make black men hate other black men to the point of barbarianism in the line of duty? Well, I'm encouraged that the Memphis authorities, including the chief of police and the district attorney, have moved swiftly to bring these violent criminals to justice. I hope they and others will move just as expeditiously against white officers who perpetrate such violent acts. Ladies and gentlemen, this is something that SCLC been talking about for many of years. It's different than getting on TV, going to the park, going to the streets, having a march, having a rally, and going home, getting on the 6 o'clock news. This is something continuously that SCLC has been involved in. The continuation of fairness and justice for all God's children. We have the kingdom philosophy. Dr. Bernard Lafayette, our chairman of the board, is not one of the best in the training of police officers in criminal type of gains and activities. He has done it all over the world. Ladies and gentlemen, we are not going to tolerate and sit idly by and do nothing. Very peacefully, we will negotiate, we will communicate, we will do direct action, but we're going to get the job done. This is an example of what we've been talking about. When I got the call this morning from several of my friends from throughout the country saying, Steele, this is what you've been saying, that racism is a virus, and Godspeed upon you. Have a great day. I got to go to Memphis. We're going to solve and resolve whatever the issue is, but we're not looking for no headline. We're looking for results. And God bless you, because I love you and he does too. Have a great day.